Welcome to Stetson Law Live, an online, interactive, informational event for prospective students of Stetson University College of Law. On today's program, Louis Virelli, Nina Hayden. Our topic today, getting ready for law school, preparing for classroom success.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, everyone.
My name's Lou Virelli, and I'm here with Nina Hayden, and we're here to sort of help you all learn a little bit about Stetson and about what it's like to be in law school. Thank you all for coming. We're really excited about the chance to share what we know about Stetson and how enthusiastic we are about it, and how enthusiastic we are about you all. So we're glad you're here. A little bit about myself. As I said, my name is Lou Virelli. I'm a professor here. I've been here 10 years. I came from the Department of Justice, where I spent 5 years practicing civil litigation, suing people who defrauded government agencies. But since I was about 19, as an undergraduate engineer, I've wanted to be a law professor. And it really is a dream come true. And I'm really grateful that a place like Stetson welcomed me, because it's been a really fulfilling experience, mostly working with our students, which I think is sort of the core of what we do here. I teach 2 required first-year courses, so I'm lucky enough to have access to more than half of the first-year class almost every year, which is really exciting. I also teach one of our competition teams, our moot court team, and that gives me access to upper-level students in a really exciting way. And I do a lot of mentoring based on my federal work experience and service. So I'm really fortunate, and I hope that'll give me a chance and some experience to help answer your questions.
Great. Hi, I'm Nina Hayden, a professor here at Stetson College of Law, and it's great to have you here as an audience. So you'll have an opportunity just to get to know a little bit more about Stetson and what we do here. A little bit about my background. Well, here I teach multi-state strategies. It's a course actually that you will be revisiting some of your first year courses, but you'll see me a little later on in your law school career. My background is in criminal law. I worked at the Public Defender's Office for many years, went into private practice, and also had an opportunity to dabble a little bit into politics. I was elected to the school board here in Pinellas County, where I served for a couple years, and have been very involved in the community. But I'm excited about being here at Stetson. I've been here off and on actually for a few years now, very familiar with the environment, with the other professors here. I know that we are all here to help you. And I'm also Director of Academic Success and Bar Prep. So we'll have an opportunity to help guide you through your law school career, providing the skills and all other types of information that I know will be successful, will help you be successful here at Stetson College of Law. So what else do we have for them to chat with them about?
Well, let's talk a little bit about why Stetson is special in our view, and I think we probably share that.
Yeah.
So I went to a different law school in the Northeast and knew a little bit about Stetson, but not a lot when I came down here 10 years ago. And as I said in my introduction, it really has been a dream come true. And the reason is because of the interaction with students and faculty. My law school had gigantic wooden doors on every faculty office with no windows. So it was a little bit like entering a crypt, forgive me for being so explicit. Here, we have an open door policy, and students come and go whenever they need us. I always joke that I set office hours, but I don't really know why, because I see more students off hours because that's when they're free and they just swing by. And we get a lot done that way. We get a lot done in terms of talking about our courses, helping in the classroom, but also mentoring for careers and general things that come up in their life while they're here at law school. Law school's a 3-year experience, so things happen. And I think it's a really unique opportunity that I'm grateful for, to be able to be part of students' lives that way. The 2 big first-year courses I teach, the required first-year courses, are civil procedure and constitutional law. That's been a lot of fun because they are 2 courses that students often have some ideas about, either from watching television or the news. And it gives me an opportunity to sort of flesh that out for them. And as I said, it gives me access to a lot of the first-year student body, which I really appreciate.
Great. So we also want to let you all know that you have an opportunity to ask us questions. You can type your questions as you are listening to us today, and hopefully we'll be able to answer as many questions as possible. Let me talk to you a little bit about what to do over the summer. I know some of you are probably wanting to know, should I go on vacation? Should I study? Should I prepare? What do you think, Lou?
Well, I'm notorious for telling people to just have fun over the summer, and I'm sticking to that story. Nina, who's got responsibilities in academic success and bar prep, may not always agree with me, but in my experience, students come to law school with lots of different sort of starting places. I was an undergraduate engineer, and I spent a year in engineering graduate school, which makes me, in some ways, the opposite of a lawyer, and in many ways, quite well prepared for law school. People with different backgrounds and different experiences start in different places. What I can say with confidence is your first year professors are accustomed to dealing with this range of experience, and it doesn't faze us at all if you just arrive ready to participate. That's the most important thing, I think, is enthusiasm, energy, and a willingness to get engaged and take advantage of the fact that Stetson is a place where your faculty is ready and willing to help.
And I have to say, Lou, I do agree with that, but I also want to say there are a few things for some of you who I tend to be. Sometimes you want to be prepared to know what's the environment all about. You know, your transition from college into law school. What are you going to be expecting? So I do want to show you a couple books that I have picked out, and it's actually in our academic success library. And this one is the Law Student's Pocket Mentor. It's talking about surviving and thriving through law school. This may be something that you may want to at least get an opportunity to peruse through the titles of the chapters. If you find a chapter that's more interesting than another, then get a chance to take a look at this book. There's another one also called Bridging the Gap Between College and Law School. The law school environment is very different than your college environment, and there will be an adjustment phase, specifically in your first semester, where you'll have to adjust to the differences between college and law school. So this book will be very helpful for that. And I want you to know that our department, my department, Academic Success and Bar Prep, we're here to answer any questions that you may have, especially in that first semester where you may be interested in how do I prepare for class? How do I write notes, take notes? How should I be outlining? What is case briefing all about? How do I manage my time? As you enter law school, you'll begin to realize that time management is going to be key. How do I manage when so many things are happening in law school? There's so many events that I could be attending. I'm learning how to adjust to being a law school student as well as soon to be a lawyer. And what are those types of things that I need to do so that I can be most prepared? So one of the things that I know Lou and I both love about Stetson so much, as he stated earlier, the open door policy, we have all types of folks here, whether it be staff, faculty members that are here. You will always have a listening ear. You'll have a department, or my department, to come to talk to ask about questions as simple as where is this particular building, or where can I find this particular professor, to more in-depth questions as to how do I really learn how to analyze the material that I'm getting, and how do I learn how to outline and case brief and those types of things. So we're definitely looking forward to having you here on campus so we can have an opportunity to really get to know you.
I noticed we have at least two pending questions. One is about a prep class with Kaplan, and Nina, I defer to your judgment about that. I think law professors have a habit of answering everything with "it depends" to begin with,
right,
and then we flesh that out. I got a feeling that "it depends" is probably the initial answer.
It does depend, because it depends upon what law school you went to, and college, I should say, college that you went to, and how well you're prepared for the law school experience. So if you're looking for something that's an overview of maybe the law school experience, if you feel that you may need some prep courses, I'd say go ahead and do it. I don't think it's necessarily going to hurt, but you'll learn about Stetson and what we do here and what will work best. You're more than welcome to even email me, nlhayden@law.stetson.edu, and we can talk maybe more one-on-one about what the prep course would entail and how that would be helpful. I'm also very willing to talk to you then, and we can discuss more about it.
I think that dovetails really nicely with another pending question, which is about the complexity of the courses and what happens if sort of the concepts start to elude me. And my first reaction, of course, is that's job security, right? I mean, that's what I'm here for, is to help you sort that out, and we do. We take great pride in keeping our students abreast of what's going on, right? So there's no hiding the ball. I can't say that all of my law school classes were the same. There was a ball or two that was hidden from us, perhaps. But that's just not the way we do things. And I think this is coming from somebody who didn't study a single thing about American government in undergrad, right? Which I think gives me a perspective maybe that's different from some others. I was doing fluid mechanics and courses like statics and dynamics, and now I teach constitutional law, which is entirely about how our government works. And that's because I learned those things in law school. Law school is a learning environment. We do not expect you to arrive knowing how to do all these things.
Right.
And we are prepared to, and if I may, capable of, teaching you these things.
Right.
I always try to describe to students in the first year particularly as thinking of law school as a process. One of the major differences, I think, from undergraduate experiences is that law school is about managing a large amount of information, not an infinite amount of information, not an amount of information you can't imagine, but a large amount of information, all of which you've seen before, and using that information to solve problems at the end of the course generally. Sometimes there's a midterm, sometimes there's a final, there's almost always a final. And it's about marshaling that information and learning how to use it. Well, there are ways to do that, and we talk about that all semester long, the process of learning. What information have we covered? How do we characterize it? How do we categorize and organize it? And how do we use it? Right. And I think that's an important part of what we do in the first year. Sometimes, and don't tell anybody even though I'm being recorded, but sometimes more important than the substance of what we're teaching. You are likely to forget the details of some of your first year courses. But if we can get the process working for you, then you'll be able to recall those things quite easily. And that's what we're about. And I think that helps solve some of the complexity problems.
And one of the things that the Academic Success and Bar Prep team, what we do is we help to teach you the skill set. So whether it's how do I develop the skill of answering multiple choice questions, or writing in terms of applying your writing to a law school exam, the bar exam, or research and writing, which you will have tremendous professors that will help you in that area. But what the Academic Success and Bar Prep team, what we do is that we help you to manage how to use your skill set, how to apply it when it's most appropriate. And then you'll learn the knowledge, the complex, the things that you may think is complex. The more you get involved in the material, the more you'll begin to understand, the more you'll begin to handle it, and then you'll be able to apply the skill set to it.
So I noticed we have another question about sort of getting a jump on reading. And this is one of those things that I feel like I have some clarity about. Mm-hmm. I may be cloudy about a lot of things, but this is one of those things I have some clarity about. I don't see a whole lot of upside in doing that.
Right. I agree.
And I just read my student evaluations from last semester, and one of the, and I'm grateful, not too many critiques was sometimes we were too far ahead of the professor in the reading, because my class pace depends on how the students are picking things up and the questions they ask. And for those of you that have been awake for the last 6 months, you understand that there are some current events that have come up in the real world of constitutional and administrative law that required our attention. So we fell behind, and students got ahead of me. And that always was disorienting for them, because I'm here to help them follow the reading. And if they're thinking about a case or a piece of the reading that we haven't gotten to yet and are therefore not as fresh on what we're studying that day, they find it disorienting. So I would discourage trying to get too much of a jump. It's really about sort of staying the course and letting the interaction with faculty and the arc of the semester play out. There's no way to do a semester of law school in 2 weeks, at least not well in my view. And we're here to help. And I think we're not as able to help if people are too far ahead of us, at least in the reading.
I think the best thing to do, I agree 100%. The best thing to do is to just get an idea, an overview of what law school is all about. You can compare the differences between law school and your college education and see overall what types of things am I going to be able to I'm going to need to be able to understand and to do. It's almost like getting your mindset ready. So in terms of the reading, in particular, reading particular subject areas, I definitely agree with Lou. That will come in the beginning, and you don't want to get too confused. Lou will lead you through what you need to know. The other professors here, myself, will lead you through what you need to know once you start class. But get yourself at least orientated. What am I going to expect, like first day of class? And that's why I suggested the books that I suggested. They'll help you get orientated to what you are to expect, okay? Because there's going to be an orientation. You're going to have a lot of things coming at you at once fairly quickly. You'll learn to adjust. You'll adjust through the process, but maybe just reading those things to get you to give you an overview about what to expect.
And I want to be clear, but it's been my experience that when I disagree with Nina, I'm usually wrong, so I want to be clear. My answer was about reading the specific course material ahead of time.
Correct.
Nina is an expert in sort of the preparation process and preparing yourself for law school more generally,
Correct.
And I defer to her. For those of you that were involved in the pool at home, it was 12:15 when we got the first question about being called on in class. It's always fun to guess how long it's going to take. That question always comes up. It's totally a fair question, and I understand. I remember sitting in class in law school hoping that somebody had forgotten my name and therefore would never use it out loud. I call on people, I think we all do. I can promise you this, I have never called on anybody who had done the reading who felt badly about their experience, or at least who indicated that they felt badly about their experience. That's not the point, right? Making people who are in the process of learning information feel small is not what we're here for, right? We are here to make you all feel more comfortable with the material. So I always like to tell my students, first day, I will call on you, short of not understanding where you're sitting, like when you get on an airline and they say, we hope you're on the flight to Dallas because that's where this plane is going. Other than not knowing what class you're in, I can find a way to ask you a question that you will get right. And from there, we will start building with additional correct answers until we get where you need to be. Never once have I intended to, and I'm confident that I have not, made a student feel as if they were somehow inadequate or not succeeding. That is not what we're here for. And it's not that hard to do. It's very easy to sort of get you all working along a path. And if we have to start at the very beginning, that's not a bad thing. Because the other thing I like to tell my students is, I've never met a student with a truly unique question, in the sense that students sit in their seats and say, I can't ask this question, it's going to be embarrassing. And I always tell them that about 40% of your classmates always have the same question, they just won't say it. And the fact that I'm getting you to talk about it lets me know what the class needs and allows me to address that problem right there. And we keep everybody afloat in what I hope is fun, right? I mean, law school was fun for me. I'm back, right? So clearly it was fun for me.
Me too.
But if you're, for a decision like this, I tell students this all the time, and it was the reason I left engineering graduate school, because it wasn't any fun. Law school is rewarding. It is exciting because it has been chosen by you all as something you are interested in. And it is interesting. And we seek to make it interesting.
And I see there's a couple other questions on the screen that I want to address really quickly. One question is about what's the academic calendar like. Every 1L will have the same academic calendar. It's usually Monday through Thursday, and some, I think there's one section, you're divided into sections. So some sections may have a component on Friday, a small component on Friday, but mostly it's Monday through Thursday. There's a question that was asked about working. Are you allowed to work, and what are our thoughts on that? I don't believe that you are allowed to work, especially I believe your first year, I believe. So someone can correct me if I am correct on that. So you're not allowed to work your first year, and I highly suggest, so I won't speak for Lou, but I highly suggest you do not. This is going to be a time where you need to get acclimated to the law school process, what it's all about, and you need to be all hands on deck. Your mind needs to be there, and so you need to be fully integrated into the process and what we do. Any other thing to add to that, Lou?
No, I think that's right. I mean, when I have upper level students come back to me after their first year, they're always shocked at how much busier they are as upper level students, because your first year experience is, I like to describe it as hermetically sealed. Right? You are in your first year classes with your section, and you really are immersed in law school. And I think that's a great way to start, right? Because it allows you to work through sort of adjusting to the process, dealing with the kinds of information and the kinds of studying you're going to be doing in law school without having to worry about the distractions. When you become an upper level student, you're interviewing for jobs, you're doing things like moot court or trial team, you may be on a journal, you may be working, you may be doing pro bono hours, and all of those things are important parts of law school. But sort of the secret benefit to first year is that you are immersed in your classwork, which really gives you a chance to build a strong foundation. The only problem with that is you don't appreciate it until it's gone, like most things in life. When you're a second year and you wish you were only immersed in your coursework again, because so much of the rest of your schedule is occupied by other fun things you've chosen to do.
Okay. There's a question about what is the dress code for classes. So basically anything that's acceptable, okay? You don't have to come dressed up in a suit or anything like that. So it can be casual, it can even be shorts, a t-shirt, something to that effect. Your professors usually don't allow baseball caps, that type of thing, at least while you're in the classroom. And if you want to wear, sandals, flip-flops, that's fine too. Now, when you're participating in some of the other things like let's say your first year oral arguments and that type of thing, the professor will make it clear what type of dress code you need to have. So folks will make it clear, so there's no need to worry about that. I think there was a question about getting access to the library prior to orientation. Yes, you do have access to the library. Thank you, Carmen. Prior to orientation. Lou, do you see any questions any other questions?
Well, there's a question about getting access to professors beyond class hours, and I touched on that briefly on my intro, but it's always worth saying again. I have a habit of setting office hours, but as I said, it's sort of a exercise in futility, because I also tell students to just find me. As my kids get older, ironically, their schedules become more important than my own some days, but I always am able to find time, either during office hours or whenever students feel like dropping by my office. We'll hang around after class, we'll go back to my office after class. Email and phone are always fine, particularly for folks in the part-time program. It's often easier to talk to them during the day. All of those options are on the table. And again, it's because we take great pride in having our students feel like they have access to us. I am a little bit of a Luddite, which means, ironically, as a former engineer, that I'm afraid of or not very good at technology sometimes, but I've taken to dictating emails. So my students always laugh at me because they can tell when I'm dictating an email because it gets really long. But it allows me to answer student questions all the time. I've really freaked some people out in Target around the holidays, answering exam questions, walking through the aisles, because you don't hear people talking about the Commerce Clause, federalism, or individual rights under the Constitution while they're buying toothpaste. But it's been done, and we do it because that's what we're here for.
So you will get for the part-timers, folks that are coming in part-time, you do have a schedule as well, and I believe it is a Monday through Thursday schedule, and I believe the days are, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's something like there's a Monday, there's a potential Tuesday and a Thursday. I think there's off during Wednesdays and off Fridays, I believe. But you'll get that schedule. It's something to that effect. And the classes are in the evening for part-time folks. I believe there was another question about getting a roster for the students that are in your section. That I am not aware of, but I think you will understand. In August, you will get you will have an idea of who's going to be in your section, because you'll see the folks in your section once it's divided. I don't know about an actual roster, but we'll see what happens in August. Potentially, that's something that you could get, okay? What time does class start in the evenings? Classes start in the evening, I believe, at 6:15 for part-timers. And then, yes, 6:15, okay.
The voice from behind the curtain told us you're correct.
Yeah, we're getting these answers. This is great. Okay. Let's see, what other questions?
This is another one for you, Nina. When should we contact the academic program for help?
You can contact
Not yet. Yeah. You're not ready yet. We're sure about that.
Well, I was going to say, Lou, that you actually can contact us now if you'd like.
I was afraid you were going to say that, right?
Right, because we may have answers to questions that you may have just about getting acclimated to the law school process. So we're more than willing to answer your questions. There are 3, soon to be 4 of us fully on staff, but then we have 2 an administrative specialist as well as an ADA coordinator, so that makes 6 of us total, which is great. So any of us can ask questions, but you're more than welcome to send me an email at nlhayden@law.stetson.edu, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. But academic help, that may come or will come later, and we'll more than willing to help you later on in your law school process through your first semester.
And as they say, it takes a village, right? So we're all
Yes.
part of that process, and
Correct.
we take pride in that. Great question that I can now answer, so I can take a little bit of pressure off Nina,
Okay.
some camera time off of Nina, about electives. So first year, you really won't have any. I believe there's a choice in terms of precisely what kind of legal writing class you may want to take in the spring. There are some topic-specific legal writing courses. But in general, your first year curriculum is set, and that'll be true basically nationally.
Yeah.
Some law schools have minor variations in what they do first year, but the core first year curriculum is roughly 200 years old, and we're sticking with it for now. Second year is when electives kick in, and I always tell students, this goes with my last conversation too, please talk to us. Stetson has a mentoring program where you can be matched with a faculty mentor, and you will be. And they are a great resource for that. There is an online resource about academic pathways. So if you have an idea of what you'd like to study, there are courses listed within that area. And some of the areas are broad, so they're not, they're relatively easy things to sort of get your head around at first. But then you have to come talk to us. I have a speech that I use for first-year students who are pretty far along. It's usually second semester first-year students or students at the beginning of their second year, about some of the questions they should be asking themselves about what they want to do. But choosing electives is important also because you have 4 semesters to fill out your roster of electives. And the biggest mistake I see students make is that they sort of front-load everything. They can't wait to choose electives. They take all of the most time-consuming or sort of most difficult, for lack of a better word, courses. And there's no reason to do that. It's, my favorite thing to say is that it's not Olympic diving. There's no degree of difficulty points awarded. Designing a difficult semester doesn't get you anything other than a difficult semester. You should think about the things you want to take and let us help you sort of prioritize or lay those out in a way that makes the most sense for you based on your interests and where you think you may be going. And that's, I think, important advice, but it's not anything anybody has to worry about now because you will be well along into your first year before those things present themselves.
And so I want to talk about Stetson's advocacy program because that's one of the reasons why I came to Stetson. I came to Stetson, I graduated from here, and I also came back and received my LLM degree in international law from Stetson as well. But Stetson will make you a fantastic advocate. And there was a question as to whether or not you're not sure exactly where you want to practice or where you want to go. That's okay. You'll learn that as you get to know professors. You'll get to know what your interest areas are. We have clinics that you can participate in that will help you see if that's really an area where you want to practice. But when it comes to advocacy, I highly suggest that, and this is just from my personal opinion, that you get into trial ad. That is a fantastic course. We have fantastic professors, and that'll get your feet wet in terms of the advocacy process. Also, you can look at getting on the moot court boards or any type of oral advocacy that could also help strengthen your writing as well as your oral skills. Stetson has a plethora of opportunities here where you can really get involved in the advocacy process to decide where you want to, how you want to apply those advocacy skills. If you want to go to an area where you want to practice more advocacy, more litigation, as opposed to more oral advocacy, as opposed to just writing and litigation. So we have so many opportunities for here. I highly suggest you get involved in those, and that'll come a little later. Actually, in your first year, you have an opportunity to participate in either the opening or the closing arguments, and that kind of gets your feet wet into what it's like to become a lawyer and to advocate.
That's all. It's very true, and there's lots of great opportunities here, things that when I was in law school I didn't even dream of trying. The level of experience you can get doing quote-unquote real-world things while you're at Stetson is really extraordinary.
Absolutely.
And we always encourage folks to take advantage of it. The tagline is that we have more internships and externships than we do students. So there's no danger in not having an opportunity if you're interested in trying something out. And it's a great way to learn about what kind of lawyer you want to be, because that's an important decision, right? You're spending this time and energy, and we're very fortunate to be able to help you on that journey. But it's also important that you have goals in mind so that we can help you meet them. And we have faculty members with experience in basically every sort of discipline or area of law you can think of.
Exactly.
International laws
Law.
come up on our board here, and
Right.
we've had faculty members who spent significant time at the State Department, who have worked overseas, who are from other countries and are lawyers in 2 countries and other disciplines. It's really an extraordinary opportunity. So we encourage you to start thinking about those things with our help when you're ready.
And opportunities too to travel abroad, to study abroad. So in my LLM, when I took had my LLM degree, I went over to China and actually was able to study over there for a month. But there's so many other programs that Stetson offers. You can go to England, you can go to The Hague, you could go to what other countries? I think many different countries. You can talk to our international programs. And JR, who is in charge, he's one of the associate deans of the international program. He is the associate dean for the international program. You can have an opportunity to speak to him. We have a lot of opportunities for you to get involved in what's happening internationally. Okay, let's see. What else do we have?
So do we have time for one more?
One more.
minute?
One more.
Well, we have a question about law review. And that's something I can help answer. Law review is a great example of some of the upper level experiences you can have outside the classroom. So it's an extracurricular activity. Law review means you are part of the publication team of a scholarly law journal. And I believe every law school in the country, but certainly the overwhelming majority of them, have journals that publish the scholarship of people like Nina and I, who do this for a living and are trying to sort of think about and inform people about the law in different ways. The question posed was fair. Do I want to get on law review, and does anybody read them? Well, yes, people read them.
Yes.
Judges read them, practitioners read them.
Right.
But getting on law review also has benefits that are both universal, in the sense that law review is a very highly credentialed experience. So other people around the country will understand that it's a serious distinction and quite an accomplishment to be on law review. It's also a tremendous writing and research experience.
Right.
And you all will find that a lot of what lawyers do is research and write, which is why your first year courses are so important in that area.
Right.
And law review will make you a much better researcher and writer.
Great. Fantastic. Well, we just want to thank you for sharing this time with us. We feel like this is we're a community here, and you've had a chance to reach out to us, and we've had a chance to reach out to you. So we look forward to seeing you in the fall, right, Lou?
We do. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Stetson Law Live. For your convenience, our contact information will remain on screen for the next few minutes. Thanks for watching. We look forward to seeing you soon.